Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Welcome back, fellas. If you guys don't know me already, my name is Daniel Diaz. I've been currently documenting this entire journey on YouTube of us scaling a lead generation agency up. And in this video, I'm going to be showing you guys the exact steps to get to your first 10K a month just by sending B2B cold emails. And there's a shit ton of gurus out there. So I'm going to be making this the most non-guru-y video as possible. I am no smarter than you guys. If me and my partner Matt are able to do this, you guys can do the exact same thing. We've sent over 500,000 emails in the last 8 to 9 months, probably more at this point, and we've booked over 200 appointments. I'm not flexing, I'm just showing you guys some credibility here. But besides that, let's get right into it. All right, so here we are. I know it looks super messy, but ignore that. This video is going to be value packed. So make sure you grab some popcorn, make sure you grab a notebook. I'm sure if you guys are watching this, you guys might already run an agency and want to learn how to run cold emails to get more clients, or you guys just want to start an agency up to run cold emails for other businesses. Either way, you'll get a bunch of sauce out of it. So I'm just going to honestly just take this guy right here. And this is kind of what we're going to be going. Come on. All right. This is what we're going to be going through today. So the first 2 steps, choosing a niche and picking your ICP. Niches and ICP, these are very important when running cold emails. And you guys should only be picking one. You guys don't want to serve everybody under the sun, because if you talk to everybody, you speak to nobody. So just a quick little backstory. When we first started, we were targeting property managers, but we realized these guys weren't making any money at all. They were broke. They had zero time to actually contact us to make these cold emails better. And there was just shit to work with. We got a few clients in property management and we had to drop them because we weren't getting paid. And honestly, getting results for them was pretty hard because it's mostly B2C. Anyways, you guys want to pick a niche. What we're doing right now is sales consultancies. So we found that if we're able to generate leads for sales consultancies, they won't have a problem closing them because they're already trained on sales. They already know how to close people. We give leads to someone that doesn't know how to close them and they end up going to waste. And our client doesn't get any sort of ROI on their investment with us because they just simply don't know how to close a deal. Next, your ICP. This is your ideal client profile, and this is the exact person that you guys are going to be targeting in your cold email outbound. So you want to be speaking their language. You want to be using the same tone that they use. You want to emulate them in a way. If you are able to resonate with your ICP and properly communicate what you have to offer in a way they want to hear, then you guys are going to be making money. So for example, founders and C-suite execs at 5 to 30 size companies. So the next one is agency branding. So this is basically where we just make a clean looking logo, make a clean looking company name, buy a domain, and just get things official, get things laid out. Next one, a personal brand. Some people are fathomed by this one, but what we've seen is a personal brand always helps convert more emails into calls. And it's simple. People buy from people. If you have zero personal brand on LinkedIn or on Instagram, people don't know who they're talking to. People don't know if you're a real person. We always try to post on LinkedIn as much as we can, post on Instagram, make YouTube long form content to show that we're competent in what we do. And sometimes we even send our YouTube videos to people so they kind of understand what we do specifically. So yeah, cool stuff. Next, we get into the email campaign build out. There's 4 pillars that really matter, and that is deliverability, your list, your offer, and your copy. After this, we'll launch the campaign, we'll hop on a sales call, and we close them, and we make money. So let's start. Let me just clear all this garbage. All right, so let's start with our niche. We use AI always to find our niche. And if you guys aren't leveraging GPT-5 or Claude, then you guys are honestly bozos. You guys have to be using these when running a lead generation agency, especially cold emails. So from experience, ChatGPT is amazing for thinking, but sometimes mid for copy. So we use ChatGPT. Oh, this is 5 now. We use ChatGPT 5 for all of our research purposes, and we use Claude for all of our copywriting purposes. Our main goal with GPT is to cover industry insights, things like pain points, common challenges for specific roles or departments, and existing solutions in the market. We're basically going to use GPT to find our niche, and I'm honestly going to walk through this with you guys live, so that'll be fun. And once you get a niche from ChatGPT, we can then kind of go into some high impact sales copy, but we'll probably save that part for a bit later. So let's just get right into it. This is just an example I did for one of our clients. This is how we found a niche that performed amazing, and it led to one of our winning campaigns. All we did was say, pick a random North American industry that has a large enough TAM to run cold email outbound on, make sure it is unique. This is for our company. Here's more info. And we just had a doc kind of that has all of their offerings, all of their pain points, etc. And we put the company name in, put in our offer, all of that, and we ended up getting telehealth infrastructure platforms. So it tells you why Actually, wait, I think I missed a part. Nope, that's pretty much it. Yeah, so literally tells you why. It tells you everything, your ICP. So this is who you're going to be targeting, VP of sales, 2 to 10 reps based in US or Canada. Simple niches within. There's some other niches you guys could also target, and I guess ask for a few examples. Boom. And then I said, great, you are leading the outbound business development motion for a company offering outbound sales systems. Give me a full market breakdown on the target market for something like this, the pain points that the customers might be having. Sorry, I was typing this very quick and it was late. And deep industry insights that only people from this industry would know. Make sure you're being specific and bring up sales arguments in your breakdowns. So we had all of this information, and this let us make the most refined, targeted email sales copy ever. And we actually crushed it with this campaign. I'll honestly show you guys very shortly what that campaign looked like. We had 1,500 sequences started. Our reply rate was about 2.4%, and our PRR was about 30%. What is considered good? What we consider good is reply rates over 1 to 2%. So this is phenomenal, especially when we're sending almost 1,000 cold emails a day on only this account. And our PRR, what we look for is anything above 10%, and we're high achievers, so we like to get around like to the 30 to 40% mark with our PRR. This honestly, it just crushed. What we also look for is after a week of testing, we want to kind of analyze, step back, and see if this campaign has generated at least 5 leads. So that's what we look for. I'll get back to what we were working on. Boom, boom, boom. We have all of this information here. That's how you find a niche. Don't copy me. Be unique. We're already dominating this market. You guys can too. I don't give a fuck. You guys do that process on your end. And after you guys find a niche and find out all the pain points, what they're going through, deep industry insights, then you guys just want to switch it up. And this is where you can start, building a LinkedIn, building an Instagram, and honestly, learn as much as you can and start making YouTube videos about it. When I first started, I went through like a state of immersion. I was just locked in for 3 months, learning everything you need to know about cold email outbound. And I started making videos about it that quick, because when you make these videos, we're able to explain your offerings and your service so much more clearly. I was making one-take YouTube videos. If you guys look at my account, I was just talking about cold emails and building this agency up. Being on camera and having to talk about cold emails, what you guys do, and every time you fuck up, you have to restart. You get super good at explaining your service. And ultimately, this will help you on sales calls. Being able to articulate exactly what you guys do, what problems you solve, how you can help them, and how they can benefit from what you have to offer. The next part is your agency brand and your personal brand. So just real quick, we're just going to run it with you guys. So I'm going to get back to my good old friend ChatGPT. Make a clean company name for an agency that does cold email outbound. Make it creative, simple, and attractive. Whatever. These are low-key fire. Boom, boys. That's literally all you need. So I actually like Reach More a lot. Honestly, yeah. I like that. I like that. So we'll just go back to our page here. And you guys don't have to like make it crazy, man. Reachmore.com. That even taken? It's not even taken. So like you guys could run that yourselves, and I think that's pretty clean. Bam. You guys have a freaking company name. And next, a logo. All right. I'm just going to show you guys ours very shortly. This is our company logo right there. It's super clean, man. Super clean. Our company name is valentemedia.com. And basically what that means, it's a Latin term for God willing. So my partner actually came up with this, so kudos to him on this, and he made this website as well. It doesn't have to be crazy. Follow simple colors. Don't make it look wacky or gay. Just make it look super clean, man. We'll go back to ChatGPT. Can you make a clean logo for reachmore.com? Make it simple, unique, simple. There we go. Okay. All right, boys. So, this is a rough, obviously, I would go into Canva or some shit, make it look cleaner. But that's all you guys need, man. Literally, all you guys need. ChatGPT just makes things so much easier. I'm telling you guys. Let's get that sucker in there. We're back. Here we go. That's our logo. And we have a company name. So, reachmore.com. That's clean. And the next is LinkedIn. So, this is my partner, Matthew. This is how his LinkedIn looks like. And basically, every person that is interested in our offer, we just connect with them on LinkedIn right away to add a face to the cold email we sent them. This helps conversion rates so much more. And I really recommend for you guys to do the exact same thing. Make a clean looking LinkedIn, post on it. Matt here, he does some posts. So he just reposts stuff that kind of shows our ethics, our values, what we believe in. He makes these little, or I actually make these. We just go over, some posts about cold emails to show our competency. We get likes. We sometimes even get inbound just from people looking at LinkedIn. And if you guys do YouTube as well, like I said, make some YouTube videos, then you guys can easily plug your YouTube in your LinkedIn, and you create a little funnel where you lead a curious prospect to your LinkedIn. That curious prospect goes to your YouTube. He's like, all right, this guy knows his shit. And then boom, it cuts that friction like that. A personal brand through cold outbound is absolutely imperative. It adds a face to your cold email. It doesn't make you a nobody. People buy from people, and the more credibility you have, the more people you will convert. Trust and credibility is huge. Next, you don't need many YouTube videos, all right? All you need is like 10. Literally 10 videos that just go over what you do, and videos just going over cold outbound. These are a few examples of what me and Matt worked on, and these actually brought in some inbound as well. So make some videos. It doesn't have to be super professional. Literally just grab a camera and talk about it. You guys will get better at talking about your service and your offerings, and people will get to know you more. The next one, IG. Make a simple ass Instagram. It's not that hard. You have founder at Valente Media. You have your YouTube in there. You have some, wins. You have some results. You have a profile picture, your name. You look like a human. In email 2025, there's a lot of bots. Everyone is getting hundreds of cold emails a day. What's going to separate you from them? And this will get you that competitive edge you guys need. When people see that you're a real ass dude, when people see that you're actually posting online frequently, you're active, you're not some bot reaching out, this all helps, man. And I really recommend for you guys to do this before you guys run cold outbound, or when you guys first start cold outbound. The next one, email infrastructure. So this part is a little bit confusing to begin with, but we actually made an SOP around it. So the three softwares you guys are going to be using, the two softwares you guys are going to be using is Porkbun and Premium Inboxes. So whatever's in red is on Porkbun, whatever's in yellow is on Premium Inboxes. So you start here, you go to Porkbun, your client will let you know if they want the domains to be generic or specific. And, you can create the domains like ProConnect Media or HQ Valente Media. This doesn't matter. Just make it look familiar. I'll get a bit deeper into this later. But after that, you want to add the designated domain to the cart and buy them. And after you buy the domains, you go to Premium Inboxes, you have purchase accounts in the top right, you fill out the info, you domain forwarding destination to URL. You can do your website, you can do your LinkedIn, and then you go to domain hosting platform. That's through Porkbun. And then boom. Just follow along, guys. Just fill everything out here. I won't get too deep into it. This is just the exact step-by-step process. Boom. Go to instantly. Sure. Boom. Domains. This is the exact setup we run when we first start with a client. How this works, all right? You'll have one domain. Let's say our main URL for our website is valentemedia.com. This is domain 1. So in domain 1, all right, you're going to have 3 separate inboxes. So how this will look like is you'll have one email inbox that has daniel@valentemedia.com. You'll have another inbox, daniel.d@valentemedia.com. You'll have a third inbox, dan@valentemedia.com. These are all different, at least to start. But the last part is the same because they're connected to domain 1. Think of inboxes sort of like a speed limit. Each inbox should only be sending 25 emails per domain. That's a speed limit. If you go over, right, you're going to have a higher chance of the police pulling you over. What I mean by that is the sender, like Google or Microsoft, sees you sending, let's say 60 emails per email account. They're going to think that you're spam. So that will hurt your deliverability on monumental levels. Some people do 30, but we like to keep it 25 just to be safe, just so we're following, all the procedures. And then let's say for domain 2, all right, you want to buy another domain similar to this one. And we made this one, for example, tryvalente.com. And then you just do the same thing, Daniel Diaz with the same domain at the end. Then 3, get a one that looks similar to this one. Getvalente.com, then you have the same thing going over. If you have 25 emails going out per email inbox, that is 225 emails a day. So 25 times 9, for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And that is 4,500 emails per month. After we find a winning campaign, we would typically double it. So we would get another 9 inboxes. And then we'd be sending around 10K emails per month. We've found winning campaigns. We see what works, we see what sticks, and as soon as we find a winner, we just add domains, we add more gas to the fire, and really let it cook with more emails going out with more email accounts. Also, with deliverability, it's very important to also use syntax. So basically what that looks like, we use instantly for our sender. How that looks like is random. And you would have, so I'll give you a quick example. So you'll have, hey, hi, hello. And what this will do is every time instantly sends an email to somebody, it will randomize this. So instead of saying just hey, sending 4,500 emails per month, it would randomize it. So some emails might have hey, some emails might have hi, some emails might have hello when it starts. And this helps you not land in the spam folders, because if Microsoft or Gmail sees you blasting the same emails to thousands of people, they're going to be like, all right, this guy is low-key a scammer. This guy is a bot. And next thing you know, your deliverability shot, your emails are shot. You're gonna be like, what the fuck did I do wrong? And everything goes wrong from there. You need deliverability. That is your foundation. That is your base on cold emails. If you guys don't have good deliverability, your offers won't work, your copy won't work, and you're gonna be like, what the fuck's going on? After you guys have your infrastructure set up, 9 email accounts to start off with, sending 225 emails a day, then we can get into list scraping. Also, on this topic, you guys want to warm up your domains for at least 2 weeks before sending any sort of emails. So if you're running a cold email agency, lead gen agency, or want to run cold outbound for your agency, then you will need leads. Some people can buy leads from other people, but we actually use Apollo to scrape our leads. And Apollo is basically this platform, and it's connected to the LinkedIn database. So it has hundreds of millions of contacts in there, and you basically just use filters to get your ICP using Apollo. So we're going to search for a TAM. A TAM is total addressable market, and that's basically your size. That is how many people you are actually going to be able to target in this big list. First, we want to go into companies. And basically what we're going to start off with is account location. So we only want US companies. And inside the people section, there's going to be another option where you can select the person location. So what we've seen a lot of is a lot of like Indian guys, a lot of Pakistani guys, they set up their companies in US, but all of the people are actually located in like Pakistan or India, for example. So make sure that your company location and your person location is all both US. Employee sizes. So typically employee sizes are interesting because we've seen a lot of stuff work with higher employee sizes. And if we go over 50 employees, for example, our targeting is going to be different in terms of departments, roles. We don't want to be targeting founders with a company over 50 employees. We want to be targeting like the VP of sales or the marketing director or sales director, for example. But if it's under 50, then we would want to probably stick around like the C-suites, founders, etc. 11 to 50. And keywords. So health, wellness, fitness. We'll do hospital, healthcare. We'll do medical devices. So that looks good. And we want telehealth. Companies. So in keywords, we'll do telehealth, digital health, do some virtual care. Just gotta play around with it sometimes, honestly. Health technology. We'll do AI. Let's see if this does anything. All right, so 4.5K companies. It's not too bad for our first example, guys. I typically don't like the signals. I'll tell you why. Because the signals, they are oversaturated sometimes. Any type of person, they would want to target someone that's funded. They would probably want to target someone with like $1 million revenue. But a lot of these companies, they're getting more emails than companies without signals. So it's saturation, right? If we go into the less saturated inboxes, we're going to stand out more than the ones that are getting blown up because they have some sort of signal on their LinkedIn. Signals, yes, they look very appealing. It's like a woman in a red dress, It looks appealing, looks attractive, but once you actually try it out, you probably won't like it. Everyone is hitting up these companies already because of the signal. So I don't like doing the signals. So I'm going to just keep that there. This looks good. Health. This is exactly what we're looking for, guys. And this is just a very basic example. I'm not going too deep into this. There's a lot of good stuff out there. Since we're doing under 50, and in this case, we can do, for example, founder, chief executive officer. Depending on your service, your job titles will always be different. So in this case, we want prime decision makers that will have a say in outbound sales systems. So let's say you're doing some sort of like HR SaaS software, for example. You're going to be wanting to target HR managers or people in HR. You don't want to be targeting founders because they probably don't care about that stuff. But in this case, sales, revenue optimization, it's what founders want. It's what they would have decision-making control over. So we want to stick to these people. And also, since we're doing that, we want to add a VP of sales. They have decision-making power in sales. And also do president, and there we go. Pretty simple, guys. You also want to set email status on verified always, and that's pretty much it. I always like to do a quick look at my list just to make sure that the companies actually align with what I'm looking for. And if they don't, then I normally just come into keywords and I just start picking some out. So far, it looks fantastic. This is a beautiful list for telehealth companies, health tech companies. See health, 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 med, health, health, moment ID, health, health, health. You know, in your lists, always, there's going to be a good amount of outliers that just aren't your ICP, and that's just Apollo. So don't worry about that. Don't try to make it like perfect. Don't waste your time going through all of the pages in your list. Just make sure most of them look good and what you're looking for. And obviously, like you'll have outliers. We have outliers all the time. In macro, everything looks good. So in this case, we would just take this link, and we use a software called Export Apollo. And Export Apollo basically lets you export Apollo list for extremely cheap, bro. And what we would do is obviously name the list. So we would do like telehealth, put the date in. Today's August 17th. And we would do, yeah, that's pretty much it actually. And with that link we got from Apollo, we would just paste that in here. You'd see how many contacts. So there's 4,006 people there, 4,006. We would do company name cleaning, extra data, pay as you go. This list would be like, what, $30, bro. You'll save hundreds of dollars doing that. And we would simply export the list. So after we have our list exported, then we'd want to get into the instantly campaign structure. All right. So the next step we want to deal with is the campaign structure and the settings. So you want to go in it instantly. You want to add new in top right. You want to name this campaign. What I'm doing is telehealth, and it's August 17th. We would save that. And then we go to sequences. So sequence 1, this is the first email that goes out. It's what's going to be getting the interested people. It's going to be your offer. It's going to be your subject line. How we set this up is we'll have a variation A, B, C, D, E. Add a step 2, another variation, and then step 3, another variation. So in between these sequences, we want to have 2 days, 5 days. Because one thing about cold emails is a lot of you guys are freaking annoying. You know, you guys do fucking like 7 to 8 follow-ups. I feel like that just gets spammy to a certain point. So we like to keep our sequences under 4. You can do 4, but 3 is our optimal point. And we found that it's always better to focus on fresher leads that respond to sequence 1. Always. You don't want to be following or chasing leads. Your main goal is to create curiosity from your email 1s. Your sequence 2 should be a bump up to email 1, and your sequence 3 should be sort of like a breakup email, or you can run a new offer, something you can test there. You'll always have a better energy investment focusing on fresh leads on your email 1, seeing what works there, and not just chasing people. You want to fill in some subject lines, and I'll give you guys some subject lines that we use. One starts with quick win for you. Another one would be, since we're doing telehealth, would be like telehealth idea, or telehealth question, or quick question first name. And one that worked really well for us is looking for telehealth leader in your lead state. So I literally just came up with 5 subject lines that it's pretty stationary. It's stagnant. We use these across all of our campaigns, and we just obviously change the first word here. Always has to be what it's related to, has to be relevant to your copy. So quick one for you, telehealth idea, telehealth question, boom, boom, boom. And then we'd have 2 different email 2s, sequence 2. So like a bump up, for example. Hey, first name, did you get my last email? Sent it about 2 days ago. With the email accounts that we set up earlier using pork bun and premium inboxes, they should be all warmed up by now, right? We should have let them warmed up for 2 weeks, and they should be ready to start sending. So we just get all of them in here. Boom. Enable, disable, on. And let's say we have 9 emails here, like we did earlier. Since it's 25 emails per email inbox, we have 9, so that would be 225. Go down here. We always do 5 and 4. And then we always like to do bam. Save. All right. So domains are in, warmed up. Sequences are structured. We got our subject lines. Sorry, this should be 2. First sequence, we have sequence 1, 5 different variations. 2 days until sequence 2. 2 variations. 5 days for sequence 3. 2 variations. Email starts sending out at 10:30 a.m. to 6:30, and options are all set. There it is. So settings are complete, structure is complete, ready to move on to the next one. All right, so now you want to start ideating a cold email funnel. This is how you'll actually get people from email to a call. So first step, your top of the funnel is your initial cold email with the offer. All right. We got to reply. Sure, I'm interested. We want to break that friction, giving them some sort of asset. This could be a case study. This could be free outreach scripts. Doesn't matter. Just something free that will benefit this person. All right. Because people only give a fuck about themselves. Your next step, the intro call. All right. And then last, close customer. This is exactly how your funnel should look like too. And what we use, since we're a lead generation agency, we normally do free outreach scripts. We could do free leads. We could give them a doc going over a free outbound strat. But all of these things, it looks like you did your research. It looks like you actually studied the company. You're actually helping these people. You're reaching out in the middle of the day. Remember that. And these are busy execs, they're founders, they're CEOs. And you're simply going in there, giving them something for free that can benefit them. And then after you break that friction, then you can ask for the big ask, which is ultimately the call. This is how that looks like. Jacob, we're helping health tech startups build their entire cold email outreach system in 14 days. You can show for the calls. To show you it works, I've already outlined the domains, workflows, and automations we install for your outreach. Can I send them here? Client name. Sure, thanks. Glad to hear that, Jacob. Sorry for the delay on this. We expect a bit of time digging into Benny, your model, target market, and how you're likely approaching outbound right now. Can I ask, would it make sense to set aside 15 minutes so I can walk you through the scripts and explain how they tie into what you're already doing? Don't mind this. This is a mistake instantly does sometimes. It ties in two words together. Totally up to you. I'm leaving this with you regardless. Give them the free value here. Next thing you know, yeah, let's chat through this. It's simple, man. You don't want to overcomplicate this. The next step, copywriting principles. Outbound isn't pushing a product. It's about creating curiosity strong enough to earn a response. All right. People aren't buying from a 32-word email sent on a Thursday afternoon. They're buying because in the middle of their busy day, something about that message made them pause. That's what you're going for. All right. You want to be going for more conversations, not even selling, bro. Emails are about conversations and getting people truly interested in what you have to offer. So that pause is the goal. All right. Outbound sits at the very top of the funnel, which means your job isn't to close a sale. It's to create just enough tension, intrigue, and relevance to get someone to say, yeah, sure, send it over. This is interesting. Can you explain? Send me a video. I might be into this. All right. Our job is to interrupt that internal narrative, not to impress, overwhelm, or sell. And it's all about creating curiosity. So there's something called a curiosity gap. In cold emails, all right, you always want to leave a little bit of vagueness. You always want to keep those open loops so they can't draw conclusions on their own and make up their answer on their own. So you always want to leave the open loop, all right? So if they feel like something might help them but aren't totally sure how, they're more likely to lean in. So not we help B2B teams close more demos with AI automations, but try, just to show you it works, I made a few outreach scripts for company name. Mind if I send it over? So it looks like we already did our research, We're more likely to get a reply from someone else that reached out to them just pitching their service, which 99% of people are doing right now. So it's always good to stand out. Your prospect is selfish, all right? Don't write about what your product does. Write about what the reader gets, all right? They're not thinking about your company. They're thinking about what's in it for me, all right? What is in it for me? How can I benefit from this? Why should I reply to this, okay? Why should I even give you my energy on this? Short attention window. You have 1 to 2 seconds to earn a skim, maybe 5 to 8 seconds to earn a response. All right, get to the point, avoid intros, fluff, credentials, show you've done your homework in line 1 or 2. Next, friction is your enemy. Responding to your cold message is a cost of time, energy, and trust, all right? Your message has to be more valuable than the friction of replying. That's why offers, relevance, and tone matters 10 times more than writing clever copy, all right? You can have the best copy in the world, but if your offer isn't good, if it's not relevant, specific, or the tone is off even a bit, you're cooked, all right? They reply yes to your email. They most likely have some sort of problem already going on within that company. So that would be a qualified lead right there. That's what we considered a hot lead in our pipeline. All right. They're holding on to something we made for them. They're probably using it. They like it. That is the goal of cold outbound. All right. You want to cut the friction in cold email by giving them some sort of free value that can actually help them out with their day and with their job, what they're going through. Because again, these people have so many different problems, right? You're talking to founders and C-suites. Your job is to interrupt their pattern. All right. How many times do you guys ever get people giving you free shit over cold email? Never, because it takes more time. It takes more energy. So you guys would need to stand out when you guys do these sort of things. Relevance over reach, curiosity over clarity, human over hype. Also, in your copy, you don't want to sound all excited. You don't want to sound horny for the sale. All right. You just want to sound very conversational, casual, specific. I always tell ChatGPT when writing outbound, sound like a human talks. Okay. Speak like a human. All right. If your outbound copy looks AI written and has a bunch of M dashes and it just looks automated, your campaigns are going to have terrible reply rates. Your PRR is going to be shot. Everything will just go downhill from there. All right. You need human sounding handwritten copy almost. All right. So this is how our funnels in cold email look. We have the top of funnel, we have middle of funnel, and we have bottom of funnel. So everything we did earlier, all right, starts with market research. We got our list, we have our target market, and then we just put all of these three aspects into our cold email. So this would be our offers, our subject lines, our CTAs. And then once we have that sending in the middle of funnel, most times if your offer is good enough and your copy is good enough and it actually pertains to your ICP, you'll have people that will just go right to the call without even having to give them anything or without even to ask more questions. It just happens, and I wouldn't be surprised if it happens to you guys as well. So that's obviously the best outcome, but most times, all right, you're sending thousands of emails per month. So you're going to be getting a lot of feedback, all right? A lot of replies to your offer, a lot of questions. And on top of that, you'll also be getting a lot of objections. And with every reply you get in your inbox, it's valuable. It's information. It's data. Your job is to read that data, analyze that data, and act on that data that you get in your cold email. If you don't, then you're just leading yourself into a rabbit hole, because it's all about optimizations. It's all about getting feedback, seeing what works, seeing what people like, all right? And then refining it, make it better. It's just, it's a constant flywheel effect. After we get a bunch of this information, all right, we start noting them down so we can actually make our list better. We can actually make our emails better. Sometimes we can even ask leads to hop on a call and ask them a few questions about their industry. We could give them like a $50 gift card or a $100 gift card for like a 30-minute call. And this way we get to collect a bunch of information of the market, and that's valuable. Like, this is what we need right now. So we get them on the call, and regardless, it's all pipeline growth. After we get feedback from the prospect, from all the objections, from all the feedback we got, it's super valuable stuff here. Then we get more customer information about our offer, about what we're testing. We get to improve our email scripts and our targeting, and then we get better, more relevant campaigns, which leads to more demos, which leads to more close calls. And then we create this vicious flywheel effect, man. Then after, from the bottom of the funnel, we can bring this back into top, along some new campaigns with all the information that we collected. And now we have a better list. Everything's better now. And it just creates this vicious flywheel effect of inputs and outputs, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't. And then you just get to refine this. This is what's so fun about cold email. And I truly love this part. Next, like we talked about earlier, you want to be tracking everything. So we actually have a big Google sheet that tracks how many emails we sent today, how many people were interested, how many replies we got, how many people booked a call, and we have months worth of data there. And this lets us see all of our campaigns, how they're running on a macro level. It does get a bit difficult having to update those sheets every day, but it's always worth it, seeing all the feedback, all the data, everything there. Next one, closing calls. So this is actually from Alex Hermosi, and on these calls, right, these people already have a problem. They're getting on that call for a reason. You want to clarify why they're there, label with a problem. So, all right, since you told me that you're basically running off referrals, you're running some ads, but you aren't getting 10 qualified leads, it looks like XYZ, right? Let them understand what they're going through. Next, overview of the pain. Next, sell the vacation. This one is probably the biggest one, all right? What I mean by this is, instead of selling the ticket, going through TSA, boarding the flight, flying 5, 6, 7 hours, having jet lag and having all these problems arise, you want to sell the vacation, the problems you'll have when you're on this resort in 35-degree weather, you're drinking too many margaritas, you're eating too much food, you're relaxing too hard, that is what you want to sell. There's two different sides to this. You can either sell the ticket or you can sell the vacation. And people always will buy the vacation more. Explain away concerns. Next, reinforce their decision. And it takes practice. On your first calls, I'm not going to lie, you'll probably be shit. But it's just how it goes. It's just like when you first start boxing, right? You're going to get hit in the face a bunch of times. It's just part of the game. And that's how you get good. In boxing, the more times you get hit in the face, the better you learn to defend yourself and counter. That is basically all I have for this video, guys. This is all you need to get to your first 3 to 5 clients for cold outbound. And it's how you'll probably get to your first 10K a month. Follow these systems. You don't have to focus on all these fancy AI automations, on all these copywriting tactics. Focus on this. It's more simple than you guys perceive it to be. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys for the next video. Peace.